in catching up later, but it's actually fine because we were envisioning this conversation as the beginning of a much larger conversation that we hope will continue, you know, throughout this semester, the break into next semester, and maybe build the blocks for bigger conversations that we want to have down the road. So I thought that we would just start with a quick set of introductions. And I know I kind of know all of you, but maybe just your name, where you work, and if there's something that brought you here today or that you were hoping to gain from today's conversation, please feel free to share that. And oh shoot, I wanted to call on everyone, but now I can't find my participants list. Hold on a second. Here it is. Okay. So yeah, if we could start with Rachel, can we start with you?
Yeah, I'm Rachel, and actually I'll change my name here so you can easily identify me. And I appreciate so much that you all are doing this, especially at this time where I think it's really to kind of revisit what it means to have engaged citizenry and to teach for an engaged citizenship. So I'm so thankful for you. So thank you for doing this.
Thanks. How about you, Tara J? I'm not sure. Are you there, Tara J? Oh, we can't hear you, but I can see you in the chat. Well, that's how about this, Tara J? Because I know it's weird when everyone's waiting for. We'll move on. If you want to throw anything into the chat, or if you get your audio working, we'll come back to you and move on with introductions. I'll check in with you before we move on to the next step. Amy.
Hi, Amy, Humanities. And well, I've been trying to just incorporate more citizenship into my classes. I've always tried to, you know, give incentives for involvement on just at campus events or just at community events. And so I just wanted to make it more of a formalized piece than what it sort of has been in the past, which is just more, you know, a little, you know, just extra credit wise, I guess. So yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Amy. How about Erica?
Hey everybody, my name is Erica Allen. I work with College Advancement, so the Alumni Association Foundation, and a new leadership role is also kind of overseeing the Center for Arts and History this year as well. And so since Debbie has transitioned out of her position, I'm kind of serving as like in a temporary role and kind of helping out with that as well. Things I hope to gain from today's conversation is just kind of ways we can work together in supporting these programming initiatives, how we can get maybe community, either community or alumni to attend and support and just be aware of these events, and also maybe figure out ways that we could maybe bring some of these events at the center or kind of partner with Humanities and other folks to on program collaborations. So.
Great, thank you. Holly?
Hold on, I was stuck. Sorry.
No problem.
I'm Holly Doherty. I am the coordinator for student involvement here on campus. And Amy invited me to join this conversation because she called me the engagement specialist of campus. So we shall see how that goes. But basically, I'm kind of here to talk to you guys and share some of the things that we're doing outside of the student involvement and the Center for Student Leadership, because I think they're really great opportunities to start getting our students connected better too. So that's me.
Great, thank you so much. How about Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Anderson, and I'm in the humanities. And I've done a little bit of work with the Belonging Project. And this semester, I was working with Amy on 101 and revamping that, writing for social change, and getting students engaged in their communities and on campus, and really working toward getting them to advocate for something positive in our society. And I'm just here to learn more. And improve what I'm doing and to do better.
Thanks, Jennifer. How about Marcy? Is she there?
Marcy, you're mute.
I just realized that. Oh boy. Anyway, I'm Marcy Halpin. I'm in the Humanities Division. I teach communication. I'm also the advisor for speech and debate. I'm just here to find more information out. I don't have a lot of ulterior motives, so.
Great. Thanks, Marcy. Nancy Lee Painter?
There we go. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I am also in humanities. I teach theater on campus, and I always love these events that happen in across campus, and I encourage students to go. But I think, yeah, I'm more interested in involving assigned projects in class that are around what happens on campus. And I'm also involved in Humanifest in April, which is really a showcase of what students and faculty are doing across campus. So I'm just kind of here to learn from everybody about how we might all work together.
Great, thank you. Sarah.
Hello, I am Sarah Graham, and I teach music and humanities. And I like brainstorming with other people around campus. I learned so much about ways to, change things or do things differently, which I'm always trying to do. So I really enjoy that aspect of this. And being involved with some of the, Women's History Month and Black History Experience and those things, I really like to include those things in my courses, and there's always some way I can connect to it. So, so this is something I'm interested in as well. So,
Thanks. Suzanne, Rousseau.
So I'm Suzanne Rousseau. I teach math for natural science, and mostly I have never felt like there's a natural connection between math courses and the stuff happening on campus for the most part. And so I'm kind of looking for ways to maybe find a way to help encourage my students to participate in things, even though, because I feel like if you teach writing or something, you can send them somewhere and have them write a paper about what they saw or did or experienced, and that doesn't work so well in a math class. So I'm just trying to find ways to help my students get more tuned in on campus.
Thanks, Suzanne. I'm so glad you're here. Let's see. Tate.
Hi, everybody. Tate Smith. I work in the first year experience office, and now I'm located over here in the Student Union building, work with Holly, and we're always looking for ways to connect programming with students. And I guess with our work in first year experience, we have the SD 107, which that's a big foundational piece of it, is just trying to get students that are new incoming understanding the culture of the campus, and that we do have things that are happening. And of course, we kind of really nudge them through some assignments, like getting involved in some sort of an engagement activity, whether it be wellness focus, career readiness focus, or social. And so those three components are are things that we really try to push with the freshmen. And sometimes they'll say, you know, I don't have time to go do these things. And we have to try to remind them, like, it doesn't mean you have to come back at night and go to a basketball game. There are, you know, guest lectures. There are so many different things that are happening that, you know, or maybe during your lunch hour that you could tune into. And now, of course, with virtual, you know, you can attend anywhere. So I guess that's what I'm always interested in, is what's happening on campus and how do we get more students plugged in and increase those numbers of engagements for students outside the classroom.
That's great, thank you. And it
bet.
looks like, do we have the provost with us?
Hey everyone, I am here. I'll turn my camera back on after the introduction, only because I'm eating my lunch and you probably don't need to watch me do that. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. You likely know the Center for Arts and History reported either directly to me or indirectly to me for the whole time I've been in the provost's office, except for this year. So I have kind of a heart for some of the kinds of programming that I saw occurring down there, and the focus on trying to tighten the relationships and collaborations between the center and the campus. And of course, there are many, many other things that we do that also I know today you're trying to look for those tighter integrations. So I want to learn and also understand if there's something we don't have. Is there a resource we need? Do we need to redirect resources? How do we bring whatever we have to bear to help meet whatever the goals are that you all land on today? So thank you.
Great, thank you. Let's see. And so I guess I didn't introduce myself, but I'm Marlowe Daly-Galeano in Humanities, and it has been really a pleasure to be working with Sarah and Amy this semester and thinking about our planning for Black History Experience next month, which was one of the places we started thinking about kind of the larger conversations we can have on our campus for getting the word out to the community and trying to work that idea of truly connecting learning to life into, you know, kind of what we're doing as an institution. So Tirajay, no worries if you are microphone less today, but just want to give you one last chance in case you did get that working. Okay, I'm going to continue. We're glad you're here, Tirajay, and and it's no problem at all to move on. And I hope that if we don't get to some of the things we were hoping to talk to today, that we'll be able to continue this conversation later on. Okay. So in today's session, our goals are, first of all, we hope to share some information about campus events that are happening in the spring semester so that everyone can kind of get them on their radar and be thinking ahead to how they might encourage student attendance and participation in these events in the spring. Next, we hope to identify connections between our learning objectives and thinking broadly about learning objectives, both what we do, what's on our syllabus and the way we start our class, but also the kind of large picture learning objectives we might have for our first year students. What do we want them to learn from their college experience or their first year set of general education classes, and then connecting those to the programming that we're doing. We hope to have some time to brainstorm ideas for assignments, and we've got some activities to think about, you know, ways we can build assignments and graded learning into our classes that encourage participation in campus events, and then also just encouraging a sense of belonging, which might take the form of not so much of graded events, but just how to help students feel like this is something that could be part of my education on a large scale and in the big picture when I think about being a generally educated person. We will close the session with the opportunity for everyone to set some personal goals for their spring semester. So just an overview of the events that we know about that are coming up. The first one happens even before we start our spring classes, and that will be MLK Day on January 18th. And Chris Riggs is the contact person for that event. Throughout February, we will have our Black History Experience, and there are a set of events that we'll be talking about in just a moment on those. But Sarah, Amy, and I are all individuals that you could contact if you'd like more information on these events. In March, we've got Women's History Month, and Amy Canfield is the contact for the programs that will happen during the first week of March. And then there's also the Women's Leadership Conference, and I think Sarah might say a little bit about that in a moment. And March 15th to 19th is Native American Awareness Week. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that. Bob Sabota is the contact for that event. Before we move on, does anyone know of any other events that they would like to be added to this list so that we can make sure that the word is getting out to our students?
I remember, wasn't there Cinco de Mayo was celebrated, and I can't remember which organization helped lead that effort, but I think it's one of our sororities, fraternal organizations on
Or
campus.
maybe the Spanish club as well. Yeah.
Marlowe, I would like to add the Stegner lecture with Leah Purpura is going to be in March. I believe it's March 12th.
Excellent.
And I'm not sure I know the exact date, but Earth Day in the past has been sometimes an event that we've celebrated in various ways with campus programming. Not too long ago, we did the Nez Perce Women Defending Mother Earth, Nimipu Women event, and that was quite well attended as just a sort of a standalone supplement to Native American Awareness Week programming. And that came in, I believe, late April to coincide with Earth Day.
Excellent.
So I personally don't have anything on tap yet for that, but that's something that we might think about as a possible opportunity.
Yeah.
One thing to add to that, too, what Chris mentioned is Nancy Johnston with our Center for Student Leadership series. We've got her tentatively scheduled, and I'll have to pull up the website here to see what the date is. Holly, maybe you've got that on hand, but we were hoping that she might do a presentation as our leader spotlight that month on her work that she's been doing on air quality and being sort of a leader in her field in that area. So we'll have more information on that. We're trying to get the whole spring lineup of the LC Leader Spotlight months outlined, but we're trying to do it in conjunction with a lot of those various events, like Bob Sabota, working with him on Native American Awareness Week in that month, having somebody come in. But anyway, we can get you some dates on Nancy's if that comes into play or not. But
Excellent. This is great. I just doubled the size of my list. So that's wonderful. And yeah, please keep them coming. And it looks like there are always so many things that we can bring our students' attention to on the campus.
Hey, Marlowe.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, please jump in. I'm sorry, I can't see everyone because of how I've got my screen. So
yeah, I know how it is. Do you think it'd be possible to add Humanifest, even though we don't know exactly what's happening during that week? We're looking at April 12th through the 16th, and there'll just be a variety of opportunities of events.
Yeah. Great, thank you. I will definitely make sure that gets added to the list. And Holly says the Leadership Spotlight series, third week of each month. And is that throughout the spring semester, Holly?
Yes. So like Tate said, we're still kind of finalizing who's going to be some of our speakers. But we have 3 dates in the spring, which is February 15th, well-ish, the week of March 15th and the week of April 19th.
Great.
And then I know last year, I'm going to put it out here, I don't know if it's something they did, but I know last year the camp program had planned a Migrant Workers Awareness Week. for sometime in March, but I know we ended up going to remote and shut down, so they didn't get to pull it off. But I know last year that was a plan they were hoping to do, and they had all their events figured out. So
cool. I might know someone I could talk to about that. So wonderful. Good to build up our list so much. And Amy just added that Spanish Club did Cinco de Mayo chili cook-off in previous years. Is there anything else? Okay, I'm gonna keep, oops, sorry, now I can't get back. Too far. Quickly, just want to make sure everyone does know about MLK Junior Day. It will be a virtual event this year, and what they have planned are some short presentations on civil rights, the YWCA's anti-racism work, community service in our valley, and then I don't exactly know what this means, but it sounds exciting. There's going to be a simulated candlelight walk by characters of the Minecraft game. So that's coming up right before we get started with students. And I'm going to hand things over to Sarah, who will talk about a few of the other upcoming events that we do know about.
Great, thanks Marlowe, and all of you for coming and contributing. Oh my gosh, there's so many great things happening. This is an exciting event that I want to call everybody's attention to. And Tirage would maybe be able to answer other questions about this, so you could contact her. But the City of Hope Resurrection City and the 1968 Poor People's Campaign is a Smithsonian poster exhibit that's currently touring the US and will be available for viewing at our Center for Arts and History from the end of January through the end of February. It explores the Poor People's Campaign. If you're not familiar with that, it's a grassroots movement that focused on Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision of economic justice and the 1968 demonstration for social justice, where they created a tent city on the National Mall and were there for nearly 2 months. And so this focuses specifically on that event, though the Poor People's Campaign is still doing quite a lot of work. So this is also in collaboration with the National Museum for African American History and Culture, and features some newly discovered photographs and protest signs and things like that. It's led by the Poor People's Campaign, currently was led by Reverend Dr. Barber, and they held a demonstration in Washington on June 20th of this year. So it's an organization that's still really active. So if you want to know more about this exhibit for your curriculum, you can go to poorpeoplescampaign.org. And then we can, there we go. Let's see here. So Black History Experience is in February, and I know we're used to hearing this as Black History Month, and we wanted to move away from calling it Black History Month and be a month of celebrating the Black history experience, because really it's something we should do all of the time, all year long. And that's one of the complaints of a lot of Black people, that why is there just 1 month? So we've changed that title to Black History Experience. So you'll see that change. Of Ebony and Embers is vignettes of the Harlem Renaissance, and it's a chamber music theater work that features one actor and a combo of musicians, and it celebrates the rich arts and culture of the Harlem Renaissance period. And if you want to know more about that, I will put in the chat the website for it, so you can check that out. Let's see. Oops, I've got to move my chat. There we go. We are welcoming back Rashida Kaba, formerly of KLEW. She's now working for WGHP in High Point, North Carolina. She gave an excellent talk that was very well attended last year, and so we're having her back again this year. Fortunately, with the virtual thing, we have a lot of opportunities that are excellent. The third week is going to feature a panel led by Marcy Halpin, the debate club students, and justice studies students, focusing on aspects of police reform. And we have 2 student committee members, Max Daly-Galeano and Emmanuel Che, who are going to host a viewing of Dave Chappelle's 8 8:46, followed by a discussion. And that's going to be designed to be primarily student-led and directed. The fourth week, we'll have Ty Simpson, who will be here to speak on intersectionality, and she'll also lead a faculty workshop. And finally, Lillian Smith was one of the first white authors from the South to speak out against white supremacy. She was on campus, or she wasn't on campus. The documentary was shown last year, and it had such a strong response from the people who attended that we thought it would be a really great thing to bring back. She's somebody that's not very well known, though she's mentioned in Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from a Birmingham jail. So there's a lot that could tie into curriculum with this. And you can visit that website is Lillian Smith. Let's see, Lillian Smith doc.com, I believe. So you can visit that website. I'll double check that and make sure if you want more information about how that might work. So that is our Black History Experience programming, a lot going on. And then Women's History Month is March. Plans are still kind of coming together for this, but it will focus on women's roles and responses during times of emergency. So during the pandemic, particularly. The Women's Leadership Conference will be happening, but it will be virtual this year. It'll be a Zoom conference. So stay tuned for more information on that as we're still fleshing that out. And then this spring, we will celebrate our 34th annual Native American Awareness Week. That will be March 15th through 19th, which will have several events and will be announced later this spring. And as Marlowe mentioned earlier, Bob Sabota is the main contact, for that. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy, who's going to talk a little bit about incorporating these things in our curriculum.
Right. So thanks so much. And thanks for being here again. One thing that we, want to reinforce, I guess, or whatever, is just think about ways in which programming could be tied to maybe some of your objectives in your courses that you teach. Now, these might be program-wide objectives, but they could also be class objectives, course objectives, or even just assignment objectives. And so I'm going to link out well, here's an example here. I'm going to put this in here. So this would be an example of a course objective. And obviously this is related to the state of Idaho. Jello's here, but to use inquiry-based strategies to conduct research that explores multiple and diverse ideas and perspectives appropriate to the rhetorical context. So I may tie a program to that objective, but then, you can get as sort of meta as you want with the different things. And so I'm going to link out a gem board, which is just basically kind of a whiteboard where you can add a virtual Post-it note. And what I'd like for you to do is just to take a minute or two to kind of think about an objective that you have or a learning goal for your students. And then what you'll do is you'll just kind of create a little Post-it there with it. Hopefully the instructions are kind of clear. You'll take we'll try this, in time new technology here. But what you'll do is you'll go to that fourth little icon down onto your left, and then it'll kind of create a Post-it note. You could even make it its own color if you'd like. And maybe think about a program, course, or even assignment, goal, or objective that you could potentially tie to one of these programs or events that we've heard about through the presentation as well as through chat, or just that you would like students to attend. And we'll see if that works. Let me know if you have any problems. There's also a shortcut there where you can use Control-Shift-P, apparently. I tried that and it did work. I see good ideas coming in there. And actually, Marlowe, if you can you share your screen with the Jamboard? Oh, maybe not.
Sorry, I can't seem to share the screen and use the Jamboard unless maybe I get out of this.
You know, maybe I can share my screen though. Let's see. Can you see mine?
What if I stop sharing?
Yeah. I wonder.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Good. And so we can move this down too. So this is a pretty neat thing. Jamboard is a one of the applications through Google. So you have access to it just in your regular, Google suite. But it's an easy way to do, a few different things. Notice and wonders, just give quick feedback, and you can expand and, make things bigger or smaller. You can add images to it. So if you haven't used Jamboard, it's kind of a neat little way to, especially doing Zoom digital delivery. It's a neat way to collaborate all together. So there's some great ones on here. So let's see, let's just read all of them here. Incorporating readings by Black, Native, and women writers into my CNF classes, which correspond to specific celebratory dates. Good. Ethics course, explore a multiplicity of ethical positions on a given issue. Love that. I do not teach, but further connecting the LC competencies tracked in the Do More app. I think we'll hear more about that later. Into courses across campus. Perfect. And then rearrange Music 101 course schedule, moving blues and jazz to occur around the time of the Harlem Renaissance. So that's an awesome idea. Gathering narratives from multiple perspectives and developing creative design or performance projects in theater classes. Awesome. Something along the lines of describing how science is a human endeavor. Love that. That's great. And I had added in here, attend an event, speaker, or presentation that could potentially make you uncomfortable, because we learn and grow from that discomfort. So yeah, that's awesome. I'll stop my share there for a second and then, perfect. And you guys, you can keep adding to it, but yeah, I'm good. And then Marlowe, if you could bring that next screen back, that would be awesome. So those were, thank you for sharing those ideas. You can see how just in all of our different disciplines, we can still come up with ways, elicit sort of ideas on how we can get our students more involved. So here's some other ways too. So getting at more of those sorts of nuts and bolts and scheduling type of thing, including dates or descriptions in your syllabus, posting flyers, links, reminders, and reminder announcements on Canvas. So it sounds like from January 13th all the way through the rest of the semester, we have something going on either each week or each month. And so it might be a good idea just to each week go, okay, what do I need to post on Sunday that's coming up this week in Canvas? And Canvas makes everything so much better on that. The next thing, I can't see it. Just sharing your appreciation and enthusiasm for events, especially by actually going and being there. So being that visible faculty member or staff member when students, know. First of all, we get excited when students show up to class. I don't know about you, but especially at the end of the semester, I'm like, oh my God, you showed up. This is so exciting, right? So it's sort of the same thing with events. People showed up. This is so exciting. And so if students see you there too, I think it helps to just grow that sense of belonging that we really want to, foster on campus. And then you could organize an optional field trip or viewing activity. So going down to, the Center for Arts and History, going to the growing garden. I said that wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. Doing other things, collaborating with another class or a group on campus. I know it's been such a positive experience just working with Jennifer, doing that same curriculum. I mean, it just helps to bounce ideas off of each other and to know when I have a student in a workshop who says, yeah, I'm working on this, you know, proposing a solution, you know, I know exactly how to help because we're doing the exact same thing. So that collaboration has been so positive. And then doing and providing extra credit, or sometimes people call it citizen credit for attendance, is a great idea. And I linked out how I have offered extra credit this semester when we get to this shared document.
Thanks, Amy. And so in the last slide, we were really thinking about ways that we can encourage students to attend things kind of their own volition, and maybe not necessarily because it's required for a class. But we also want to think about ways that we can build into our teaching and into our graded assignments, structures that would get students going to participate in these events because it's part of the curriculum. So some of the ideas there might be, you know, changing the sequence of your course so that you are particularly looking at topics related to African Americans during February, so that you hit texts or units that are relevant to the programming that we know in advance is going to be happening on our campus. You know, I know this is hard. We get so wedded to, I've put my schedule out on the syllabus, but if something comes up that you didn't know about when you wrote the syllabus and it happens during your class time, you might say, hey, instead of this thing I had planned for this day, let's take the class to this event. If it's a Zoom event, that's even easier because they're already there and you just log in and watch it during your class period. And you can build a discussion or reflection assignment around that particular shared live experience that you have with your class. If you can't do it as a live experience, you can always encourage students to watch recordings. So many of these virtual events now, as well as live events, we do record. And so that is a way that you can give your students access to the materials, even if they can't go at the exact time that it's happening. And it also doesn't seem too burdensome to ask them to, if they can't go during that time, to ask them to watch it on their own time as part of the assignment, the same way we might ask them to do reading or homework for a class. Some instructors like to have a menu of options. So we just came up with a huge list of things that are going on our campus. What if you have an engagement assignment where students need to attend 1 or 2 or X number of events, and then they do some reflection on how that connects to other things that they are learning. So it doesn't have to be, you know, that like we recommend telling them about everything and, you know, but they could have a choice and maybe not expect that they have to go to everything. So I'm going to try to put the link in the chat to a shared document now. This is me during class all the time, right? How do I do this? Sorry. And I'll share my screen too, if I can, on this document. Okay, so right now we thought that we've added some ideas to specific assignment topics that you might do with your students that relate to our own classes. And we thought we would give you a few minutes to read through this document and add any ideas that you have for the ways that you incorporate teaching with campus programming in your assignments. Is everyone able to see the shared document? It looks like several people have logged in. Just like in our teaching, I think we could probably spend a lot more time on this, but I want to make sure that we do have time to open up the conversation, which is the direction we're moving towards at the very end of this presentation. But we'd like to thank you for the contributions that you've made to this shared document, and we'd like to keep this shared document going. So we introduced it here, but please do continue to add thoughts to this, and we're going to make it available on the CTL's page so that it can be kind of a living and growing document for all of us to use. I'm going to turn it over to, I think, Sarah now, and let's see. There.
So Marlowe talked a little bit about academic engagement, but I'm going to talk a little about community engagement, and which is exactly what that sounds like, right? Being engaged with our community. And the first thing is our presence matters at these events. Students pay attention and know when faculty and staff members are there. And often, at least in my experience, like for example, when we've had musical theater productions or concerts, they notice when they see one of their professors in the audience. And so that's a really big deal, seeing people. And it encourages a sense of belonging and importance at these events. So that's first. Second, just finding ways to maybe partner with other campus institutions, maybe not necessarily an event, but other things that are happening. We often think cross-disciplinary or interdisciplinary, but we also might think about some of the other things that are happening. So the clubs and organizations, the Pathfinder, which is an outstanding resource to use, Talking River, KLZZ, our radio station, and our student leadership. So there are a lot of different ways to partner with these campus organizations as well. We are encouraging the use of this hashtag, engage LC State, for these kinds of events. Anything we're doing on campus, like lectures or things with your class, maybe your class is doing some interesting presentations, that would begin to generate some excitement for what we're doing and create an archive of some of the awesome things that are happening. And then finally, engaging with our larger community. So not just our campus community, but taking our campus community out into the larger community might include like encouraging students to write letters to the editor about events on campus or events in the community, but also reading about some of those things in the Pathfinder, but also in the Tribune. So there are ways to do that. So Holly, I wanted to invite you now to talk about the Do More app and how we can engage that to engage our community.
Sure. So the Do More app has been a work in progress for the whole time I've been on campus, so about 1.5 years now. But it is to a point now where I feel good about it. I'll put it that way. There's good things going into it, and it's getting a little bit more connection on how to help students do basically everything we're kind of discussing right now, but outside of the classroom. So that's why my sticky note said connecting more with the Do More app and what is being discussed in courses and things like that. I'll put it in the link or in the chat to everybody. So everyone here at LC State has access to the Do More portal. And it is literally at lcsc.present, if I can spell really quick, .io. And it is an engagement platform where students can create a co-curricular transcript for the things they're doing outside the classroom to connect back to putting it into, say, a resume or cover letter later on. So it actually tracks the events they go to. So when they're going to the different diversity engagement events, when they are participating in these different Zoom meetings or becoming a student leader, this program on the back end tracks it all for them, and it connects it to skills and competencies that we've developed here within the Center for Student Leadership for them to learn and expand on. So it's a very, I think it's a very handy little app. I still can't type, so hold on one second. I can't type and talk apparently. So basically when students are looking for different events, where we're at now, we developed 5 overarching competencies, each with 4 different skills. So there's actually 20 skills that we track. And they range from everything from communication with verbal and nonverbal expression to diversity and inclusion. So as clubs and orgs are starting to create events, or the department like the Center for Student Leaderships are creating events, they will actually get an opportunity to tag the event with a skill or multiple skills or what have you that students are able to earn through attending that event. So if a student specifically wants to say, I want to gain my professionalism and my leadership skills, they can literally look for every single leadership opportunity that we offer. If a student wants to earn every single skill we have, they can do that too. So it depends on how involved they get. And it's based on criteria based on how many events they attend and if they are jumping into some of these leadership roles within, say, the clubs and orgs. So it's pretty handy on that front. So like I said in my sticky note, I guess my ideal goal, it's very long term, would be to get all of us talking the same language. So as you all are talking diversity and inclusion in your areas, I'm saying the same type of information for students. So when they come to me to say, hey, how do I get more involved with these opportunities? We're not on 2 different pages. So that's kind of one of my big goals. And then also with that, just recently, so just this fall, we launched an LC leadership credential from the Center for Student Leadership, and it focuses on developing leaders within our students. So literally students can, it's a value add to any degree or certificate. It's, again, tracks their experiences outside of the classroom. And we specifically hone in on creating leadership opportunities and getting them those skills to go forward on that one. So I'm happy to talk to anyone and everyone about all of these events that you've all thrown out, and I want them in the Do More app. I want to track them. I want to have the analytics to show off that we're doing these great things. So please keep me in the loop.
Yeah, thank you, Holly. And you can contact Holly if you've got other questions about that as well. So thank you. So I'll pass it back to Amy just to kind of wrap up here.
Yeah, okay, so I'm in the wrap up mode, but so are there other ways? I know that you guys contributed to the Jamboard, you contributed to the Google Doc there, or maybe soaked some stuff up. Are there any ways that we haven't mentioned that we could shape our classes, objectives, assignments, and activities around these rural opportunities on campus? Or what kind of support do you need as an instructor or as a staff member to help build campus programming into your teaching or your programs? Anybody have any thoughts?
I have something that I did when I was revamped the English 103 writing workshop for the Belonging Project. And I invited various campus clubs to visit class and give a brief overview of their clubs, what it entailed, when their meetings were, and everything. And students really liked learning about these various clubs and organizations on a personal level by seeing who these people were. So that's possibly something.
I love that idea. That's fantastic. And I, just as you were talking about that, inviting people to class, I always think in the past, now this year I haven't, everything's been weird, but in the past when I've invited speakers, let's say to a communications class, after the fact, I think to myself, you know what? And this other discipline or this other class probably would have, learned something from this as well. How can we, how could I have better collaborated perhaps with somebody else to get that bigger audience? So that's just an idea too. Anyone else?
I got one thing that's sort of related to this. Holly and I are always challenged with sometimes trying to find student leaders to take positions. And of course, I mean, we've got folks in here that are advisors or former advisors to the Pathfinder. We've got an open business manager position that's been open for the whole semester. Given there was a pandemic, we kind of understand maybe that's kind of hard to do, but traditionally it is hard to sometimes find these students to take these types of positions that are real world leadership positions. I mean, I'm a beneficiary of like the Pathfinder business manager myself. And I don't know how to get that word out. We've talked a little bit about maybe doing a visit to the different divisions and just sharing these different leadership positions. I think that a lot of times faculty know that they're there, but it's just kind of out of sight, out of mind. And so maybe just that reminder that, hey, you might see a kid in your class, you're like, that kid would be great for that position. And we just need some more of that. And we probably need to do a better job of reaching out and letting people know every year. I know we've got Handshake. It's a great tool, but I just kind of throw that out there to remind you about COM board. We're looking for, I think, 2 positions right now to fill the COM board student seats. We've got pretty soon next year, we're going to have a couple positions in KLCZ that'll be open. We've got 1 open right now for a music manager. So as you start, hearing and getting to know students throughout the semester, if you happen to have students, remind them that there's great jobs on campus that are flexible and work with your schedule in between classes. So
I love that idea, Tate, and Erica, thank you for that really great idea to just nominate those student leaders. And I think what helps, Tate, for example, teaching the SD course is you sending out reminders. Who might be a good, student mentor for the next year? And then it'll prompt me to rip off a couple of names to you. And then I've seen that before with, I think they had student who were kind of mental health peer counselors in the past. And again, we got that reminder and I sent off a couple of names. If we get the reminder, otherwise I just will forget. So if we have something formalized, I think that would be great.
No, we appreciate that. Yeah, anything we can do to make it better.
Well, and I think one of the things that has been so wonderful about this conversation is getting to have this crossover conversation between our faculty and staff. And there's so much room to continue doing this kind of work as we are really trying to make our campus informed and make our students engaged and to connect with the community. So I'm just really thankful for everyone's perspective, and we are kind of out of time now, but I don't know if anyone was dying to share something that they haven't said. I would love to hear your parting thoughts if anyone has anything.
No, but I personally feel a little bit more invigorated for spring semester. I've been hitting sort of a low, so I'm excited to just have a sense of freshness for spring, I guess.
I feel the same. So thank you, everyone. And Rachel, I think we can probably stop recording at this point. And I hope you all